I'm retired, my wife's retired. When I think of time, I think of how to use time, how to spend time. When I first retired, I didn't do much. Then I realised that no one's going to knock on my door and make things happen. I thought I've got to make things happen myself. I joined an arts class, played bowls and learned Tai Chi.
We thought to have an idea or concept what we want in this life. Somebody wrote on a pebble, just be. And I wrote on the other pebble, be just. This whole life is just to be.
I'm becoming increasingly conscious of the fact that I've got far more time behind me than I have in front of me, and it gives me a greater impetus to make use of every day, concentrates the mind more as the passage of time and the impending outcome of life, which is, not life. I still tend to procrastinate. I'll do it tomorrow, I'll ring them tomorrow, I'll speak tomorrow, I'll go tomorrow. There are so many things I want to do. For instance, I want to have more quality time to myself.
What do I think of when I think of time? I think of good things and bad things. Strange how you remember things from your past, yet when you talk about them to someone who was there, they remember things, the same things, entirely differently. Time is something you can't explain. You can't keep it, can you? Yet, if you don't give your time to other people or use it, it hangs heavy in your hands. I don't know where the time has gone. Doesn't seem long ago since I was a young girl, and now I am an old woman, and I mean an old woman. I'm 88, but when am I going to grow up?
Does time actually exist? Is there a thing called time, or is it just something that we've invented?
Many believe that time started with the Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago. When we say 13.7 billion years ago, we mean 13.7 billion revolutions of the Earth around the Sun. We give it the name time and imagine that it's something real.
Oh, time. I got the wrong one. I thought you meant the kind you cook with chicken and fish. Not the kind you put on your wall, or on yourself, if you know what I mean. I thought it was the kind you use to flavour, not the kind you use for marching through life like you're going to be late. I'm a good timekeeper. My boss always says that. But sometimes I wish I could just jump out of time and have my own precious time and make the world wait for me to finish my cup of tea. My sister doesn't see time as any great authority. She thinks she can do what she likes with hers. Took a few years off the other day, decided she was now 45 for the purpose of Tinder. Well, she's not. If I could turn back time, imagine that.
What if nothing actually starts and nothing actually finishes? What if there is just one eternal thing that humans have decided to chop up? We split everything into frames and call these frames time. It's called the block model. Time is all one.
Something is moving through the block, and it is my consciousness.
We need consciousness for time to exist. Each frame is a human construct. Without consciousness, time doesn't exist. My consciousness is flowing through the frames.
Tomorrow Never Comes by A. Thomas. Alan, unkempt and unshaven, sits on his bed. His brother, Fisher, stands over him.
Right, Alan, are you going to talk to me?
What time is it? Is it nearly tomorrow?
It's early evening, 6:45. Do you want to talk to me?
No, nothing to talk about. What time is it?
You were brought home by the police for causing a public disturbance, yet you've got nothing to talk about. Why were you running down the street brandishing a fork? You were ranting and raving about creatures coming to get you. Do you remember? What's the story, Alan?
Was anyone hurt?
No, of course not. Are you going to talk to me about this, Alan?
I need to keep an eye on the time. They're coming for me tomorrow.
Who's coming for you, Alan?
Hideous, repugnant creatures from the bowels of hell. Vile-smelling creatures with long black claws and razor-sharp teeth. They're going to tear me apart, limb from limb, and feed on me bloody carcass. They're coming tomorrow. What time is it? I can hear the clock ticking.
Try to calm down, Alan. I think we need to keep you here for a while. I will give you something to help you relax. Then after a good night's sleep, we will talk again tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Haven't you heard a single bloody word I've said? I won't be here tomorrow. I will have been devoured by creatures from hell. What's the time? Won't somebody tell me the bloody time?
Fisher takes a syringe from a medical bag and skillfully restrains Alan.
Okay, Alan. Just a sharp pinprick, then you will start to feel relaxed. Go to sleep.
No, please don't. I can't go to sleep. I've got to keep an eye on the time. I've got to keep a watch out for the creatures.
Alan becomes drowsy and falls asleep. He awakes in the morning, tangled in his bedclothes.
Oh my God! Where am I? I'm so thirsty and my head is banging. Oh bloody hell, I can't move. They've strapped me to the bed. I can see sunlight coming through that window. That can only mean one thing. It's tomorrow. The creatures will be here soon, and I'm strapped to the bed, unable to defend myself. They all have their fill of me. Oh, God help me, someone please help me.
Fisher enters with a breakfast tray.
Good morning, Alan. You feeling better this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. Don't you know there's no such thing as a good morning?
All right, Alan. Don't go kicking off again. Here is your breakfast.
Fisher places the tray on a bedside cabinet and unravels Alan from his bedclothes.
Take your tablets, Alan. Here's a cup of water. Get them down you.
Alan swallows 2 pills.
Where's me watch? All I want is me watch. Someone took it off me. Only I need to keep an eye on the time. They could be here soon.
I don't know who you think are coming, Alan, but I can assure you, you are safe here.
Nowhere is safe from these obnoxious creatures.
Okay, don't get yourself worked up. I'll see if I can find your watch.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You don't know how important it is for me to be able to see what time it is. They will be here soon, I know it.
Oh, by the way, I nearly forgot. The doctor wants to see you today.
What did you just say?
I said the doctor wants to see you.
No. What you said was the doctor wants to see me today. You definitely said today.
That's right. Today.
Don't you see? If it's today, then it can't be tomorrow, can it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's today. You said so. It's not tomorrow.
Whatever, as long as it makes you happy.
But it does. It certainly does. Oh, thank God. I feel as if a heavy weight has been lifted from my shoulders. I'm so happy that I could cry. It's such a wonderful feeling.
Fisher retrieves Alan's watch that he has spied under the bed and hands it to him.
It's only 8:50, but the second hand is racing round the dial. Look at it go. 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, 360 degrees. 1 minute, nearer tomorrow. Oh God, please stop this torment. Please don't let it start over again. It's 8:50, so that's 15 hours and 11 minutes until tomorrow. 911 minutes until 1 minute past midnight. If only I could hold back time. If only I could stop the earth turning on its axis. If only I could stop the sunrise from breaking forth another dawn. Tomorrow's coming fast. They're coming for me tomorrow.
The end.
Time doesn't make sense. What is the past, the present, and the future? Now has always already gone, but the past lingers in the present. The past is in front of you, there, in plain sight. It's the future that lurks behind in the shadows, propelling you forward.
Skin can be stitched, but not memories. I know, you know, we've all tried. Thought it over, mulled, sculptured the facts, wriggled uncomfortably in our sleep, in our wake, no escape. See it like this, see it like that. Dress it up, avoid at all costs, don't look directly into the headlights. blinded, a sight for sore eyes. Past pains before it enlightens, the present improves, but it is as it is. The future seems less complex, the weight on our shoulders less cumbersome, a kaleidoscope of possibility, although the end is ever certain. Under this light, the skin transparent, scars now barely visible, and its gossamer texture and lucidity bearing, pleasures are long forgotten. Envelop all that is dear, all that has passed, all that frankly remains and stains.
What I see is the tides of time carrying our heritage as ideas, ideologies, events and beliefs. What has passed persists as a melody in the symphony of life, or a thread woven into the tapestry of the cosmos, and as such it will always remain. Science shows us that we react to the future before it's even happened. It's claimed that the future exists in the mind of clairvoyance. But we say this isn't science, and therefore can't be considered by rational thinkers.
Past, present and future has its anomalies, but things appear to start and finish. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing apart from time. The only thing that endures is change. The basis of change is motion. Everything is in motion. Everything in this universe is moving and is changing.
And how do we measure this change? By comparison to another change. We use a clock and compare all changes to the movements of the clock. We measure one change against another change. The only thing that exists is change. Time doesn't exist.
You can break time down to its tiniest change, the movement of particles.
Like the atomic clock, the master timekeeper, it uses cesium atoms which are pulsating at 60 billion times per second.
Is that the clock that slows down when it travels at the speed of light?
Yes, that's true.
Time passes quickly, time passes slowly, then it doesn't pass at all. I'm wondering where it's going and pondering just where it went, and it seemed to stop. Then seemingly all in a flash, it was back on the move again. The feelings and senses it brought left a mark in the sand, then washed away to be part of the past. Out there, simply time.
Come, let us laugh, said the waves, chasing, lapping, kissing upon the shore. Come, let us fly, said the winds, between strands of hair, clearing grainy sands nestled there. Come, let us swim, said the seas, as crests kiss their spray, unto you, unto me. Come, let us dance, said the sands, twisting, curling around, weathered stones and bleached bones. We better not, for you are too cold, they said to the winds. I cannot, no one has teached me, said a child to the seas. I dare not, for you are too hot, she said to the sands. Not so fast, said the sun. Come, these moments do not last. Take the chance to laugh, to fly, to swim, to love, to dance. Out there simply, then washed away to be a part of the past. The feelings and senses it brought left a mark in the sand. Then seemingly all in a flash, it was back on the move again. And it seemed to stop, and pondering just where it went. I'm wondering where it's going. Then it doesn't pass at all. Time passes slowly. Time passes quickly.
So even the master timekeeper can't keep time because time doesn't exist. It is a known fact that observation affects the behavior of particles. We split waves into particles just by looking at them.
Again, we come back to the effects of consciousness dissecting what we observe.
You say this, but what strikes me is how insignificant we are. We are such a tiny presence in the grand scale of the universe. There are 100 billion stars. It's inconceivable.
Natural time. Think round and about time, time like a roundabout, returning the same and not the same. Space-time after time is wound, moving change, maybe a torus universe, no begin or end. And seasons and the moon-drawn patient flux of time and tide are given guides for natural man. While the patterning planets wander, their grand timing shapes our lives. Their orbit dance is free order. Consult your watch, don't be late, but do watch your body clock, tuned to earth and day and night, and feel the repeating varied rhythm in your heart along your pulse, pulse of music, pulse of a poem. Not the mechanical metronome, still less the beatbox, rigid, loud, that murders time. Mind-beating harsh drums and the mad pace of our times trouble the heart, tempo tantrums. But if we feel the breathing time, our pulses find synchrony. Together we bring music home. Then return to old, slow life. Keep each moment whole. Learn the timeless one, the now.
We mark our presence by measurements of time. In itself, it doesn't have great meaning. We just add value to pieces of it.
And over time, we learn to value it.
A letter to my 16-year-old self. Dearest Vivian, I am now old enough to be your gran or even great-grandmother. I remember loving being 16. I felt so grown up, just having passed my O-levels and soon to be off to sixth form college. What should I say to you? Make the most of your school and college years. They are the best years of your life. You're already doing that. Don't make mistakes, avoid certain decisions. No, none of those cliches. Rather, I will say this. You are beautiful inside and out with your dimpled chin and unruly hair. You light up any room you enter with your cheeky smile and sparkling laughter. Most importantly, I ask you to love yourself. You are quick to learn to love. You accommodate other people and therefore make friends easily. You have an innate ability in dealing with bullies, learnt at home as your father was the biggest bully around. You have a strong sense of justice and are as brave as well as kind. Learn to praise yourself and to ignore that infamously critical, metaphorical parrot you find on your shoulder who screeches, "Not good enough," or "You must try harder." Life will not be easy for you. Remember not to struggle on your own. There is always help out there. Decide what you need and ask clearly and patiently for it, making the most of what is good for you, remorselessly rejecting the bad. You will always have friends who love you, and you them. Use their love and compassion, especially when it looks as though you might lose those who are most precious to you. Never regret the decisions or mistakes you make. They are what mold you into that person you are to become, even if they are earth-shattering at the time. God bless you on your journey. Learn to love yourself. Learn it you must, for you will need that inner strength to survive. Remember, I love and respect you, and my admiration for you knows no bounds. Your ever-loving 67-year-old self, Vivian.
The ultimate grade of time to a human is age, lifetime. All values and comparisons of time come down to that.
Time is the most profound thing that does exist or doesn't exist, yet yes, we all measure our lives in terms of time, each frame being an event.
1989. To be honest, needed vodka, bottles of it, so I told them there would be no girlfriend. Hard to say the word as it had been kicked and punched out of me so many times. I'd found a place, a nightclub through whispers of gay jokes, and it sheltered me, nurtured me. For the first time, I dared to kiss. With bouncers on my side, the mob-minded beasts could not get me here. They snarled and cursed along the pavement to the nearest pub that sold cheap beer.
I've just turned 30. When I look back, I think, where has half of my life gone? Where have all those years gone? Did I lose them somewhere? Did they disappear under a chair, or where have they gone?
LP-sized memories at Sainsbury's, sealed in reflective cellophane, shocks my middle age. I see Morrissey's quiff again, and lamb chop sideburns that were a bugger to keep straight. Gatefold sleeve opened its arms to me and all the other bedroom loners. I adored that voice of kitchen sink that whined and moaned and said life isn't fair. I can see a needle in the groove and the drums inside me banging to come out. I hid clear spirits of the Smiths behind speakers. Puke hangovers had me a sickening wreck with the 21st century breathing down my neck.
We can only perceive time in relation to space. The two are connected. Time being the measurement of movement through space and change in space. Measuring motion against another motion. Change against change. The only thing constant is change.
Newton believed in time. He said that if the universe was devoid of matter, time would still flow. Just imagine if all the changes in the universe stopped. Would the concept of time have any meaning? No. No change, no time. Without change, we wouldn't be able to experience the world.
Cosmic clock. We are living in a solar system. It is like a big clock, and we were born into a moment of time. When you were born, the sun was in a certain position in the sky. The moon was in a certain position in the sky, and part of the sky was ascending over the horizon. Aries begins the evolutionary cycle. It is harnessing energy, involving itself and committing itself to life.
Next comes Taurus, forming a vehicle that the energy can flow into.
In order to grow and develop, the energy needs to differentiate. In Gemini, there is a division and movement begins.
In Cancer, the divided energies cooperate to form a container to support and contain growth.
This gives birth to Leo, the socialite energy that moves from its base into the sea of energy in search of an identity.
In Virgo, the journey is diverted, turning inward, analysing and discriminating as it begins to develop a vehicle of expression.
Now in Libra, there is a period of enjoying perfection. The eye upon the landscape, gazing at how beautiful everything is.
After the rest, Scorpio decides to move out into the bigger picture, to explore the energy in the unconscious realms. The journey continues into the deepest, darkest caverns.
In Sagittarius, the energy is set loose, with the power to fly free.
In Capricorn, it is realised that with freedom comes responsibility. The energy now has mastery over the evolutionary process and knows that it can create reality.
Now in Aquarius, the energy asks, what is reality? What is truth? What is important and worthwhile for mankind?
In Pisces, the divided energies meet and link with each other, and it is realised that they are one, and that all there is love, and that in reality there are no divisions, just energy involving itself and committing itself to life.
Without change, would the world even exist? there would be nothing apart from space. Unlike Newton, Aristotle believed there is no time, just change.
You could say that space exists objectively, but time only really exists in our minds. If you do away with the change and you do away with the consciousness, you do away with time.
Time is the consequence of our being in the world, our enduring beingness. Time measures that endurance. It isn't time that's flowing, it's life. It's being. You're trapped in the flow of time. You can't step outside of it.
5 o'clock again. No, not that 5 o'clock, not the one that shines like a beacon for the 9 to 5ers, it's that other 5 o'clock, the bastard brother who's rarely mentioned and always hangs around in the dark. 5 a.m. again. Yes, that 5 o'clock. Too late for coming home, too soon to be awake. Yet, here we are again, 5 a.m., just us two. You, easy on home ground, me, reluctant, weary, wishing not to be here at all. Outside, the usual scene. Street lamps uselessly flare on empty tarmac. No people stir but me. And now my new best mate, Orion, the cocky watchman in the sky, slanting, sparkling east to west, above Les and Linda's house across the street. You learn a lot at 5 a.m. The radio repeats question time in these small hours of a Friday. Orion, me and Dimbleby. And the sea state south of Iceland. Dogger, Fisher, German Bight, 5:20, still not light, sea state rough, visibility grim, coastal waters little clearer, in north at Sierra, south at Sierra. Time to kill, I check those two, Norwegian islands, who knew? The shipping forecast parades awake through all my 6 decades. In Brisbane, England's cricket team is all at sea. The cat's asleep again. Orion's a few more degrees west. 5 a.m. again. Eyes open in the dark, in bed, awake, I wait. It's there again. That twinge, that pain, the ache. This electric, jagged force, telling me who's boss. Forcing me to move, compelling action, manipulation, anything to throw the switch, stem the flow, just make it go. I would read poetry, but my specs are upstairs. A kettle boils louder at 5 a.m. Rifling through the kitchen clutter, I settle for toast with peanut butter. In Adelaide, England's cricketers are in a jam. I grumble to the cat about the commentators and wonder how long since John Arlott died. Outside, the usual scene. 5:45. Outlook clear for now. I creep back to bed, anxious not to disturb. She sleeps on, and all is quiet for now.
You can't step outside of time except in dreams. There's no time in dreams. Thoughts, dreams, and imagination are timeless. There is no measure of consciousness or beingness or change against change. Dream time is not measured by the clock. If we measured our time in dream time instead of years, we would be ancient and eternal, a swarming ocean of energy.
There's no time in dreams. There is no time in dreams. There is no time in dreams. There's no time in dreams. There's no time in dreams. There is no time in dreams. There's no time in dreams.
There's no time in dreams. There's no time in dreams.
There is no time in dreams.
There is no time in dreams.
In its sleep, a mind time breathed and gave that fleshless, unfelt word form to waft from my face, wave the incidental space, leaving not so much bone as dream, somewhat still in the air. A plume of breath's power and care, bartered for sleep, bequeathed to save, if anyone care. We were conjured, like automatic writing, birthed into this intense dream-like universe. Wake up from this year's economic nightmares, austerity-hewn hysteria wars. It's yesterday, already forgotten, no time to regale me with those lost mornings, nor laugh about drunken, wasted nights parasailing twisted through life like a bloated plastic Santa, floating atop an ocean of plastic bags. Wake up! Always running out of time, or is time spewing into our words and actions? We've got to stop stealing happiness from the future, like a pigeon eating a Haribo heart, all beak and no teeth, heart pliable, vulnerable and pecked at. Could be worse. We could turn into that bad influence, Saturday morning's pigeon eating Friday night's puke. Wake up. Have words, take action. Determination suits you. An action in time saves 9 when you're stitching together a plan for the future. To take care when you suture those wounds, cut from past regrets. Wake up from those battles seen through shit-tainted spectacles which may cause blindness in the present tensile situations we find ourselves in when we're pretending to be one of the monsters. Wake up. We sometimes see ourselves better with our eyes closed. We're stuck at that point where fate meets randomness, our sun eclipsed by blackout blinds of procrastination, brains becoming a darkening mass of uncertain sludginess, decisions stolen by the chaos. But without chaos there cannot be any order. One begets the other, like those little deaths and paradises of dreaming. Wake up. Slow down, have a think about the universal landscape of the mind, close-up studies of that crystal castle in your dreams, familiar faces conjured out of the sand dunes at the bottom of your hourglass. Wake up. Avoid those monks in town selling peace for 30 quid per clear head. It's 3:30, buy flowers for me instead, blood red and blue vein pink. Take the long way around. Take the long way around those shitty shortcuts through town. I'm never in a hurry. You're never slowing down. Take the long way around. The destination is inevitable. The ending is always the same. So may as well get your kicks and see all that good shit going down on the scenic route. Wake up. Don't always be in a hurry, and don't forget to stop a moment and stare at the sky. Us humans were like pink chemtrails fading in the sunset. We make our mark, have our temporary effect, but soon we'll merge with rain clouds, raining into murky puddles, consumed in time, burnt dry by the sunlight. Wake up. Time is an all-consuming spiral of moonlight and tidal waves. It'll be ticking away long after any scientist or poet can be here to measure it. Wake up. Take back control of your life. Enjoy that freedom of certainty every time you make a decision. For here is where you enter one of at least 2 possible universal creation streams. Wake up. The time is ripe for you to rebuild your life, a healthy routine of your choosing. Wake up. All that hesitation, all those mistakes, all that lack of dedication, all the times you didn't act, all the shitty things you did, all the fuck-ups, all that love, all those beautiful moments, all that effort, all the memories you're proud of, all the times you took action, all the good shit, all of it brought you here to the present, where time ceases to exist. So wake up. Now is the immeasurable moment yours for the taking. What will you do with this moment? Make your decision. Be it wise or folly, it matters not. Enact right now. Wake up and write your plot before the book slams shut.
Is it time that is measured, or just our attention to the world of objects, the material world?
She said that she could never wear a watch because she could never be a slave to time. And that sounded all cool and spiritual and stuff, but didn't sit right with me. So I thought about it for a while. I figured how the things that we own are just tools and toys. Now we can never be a slave to them unless we forget this. The man wears the watch, not the watch wears the man. So I was going to wear a watch and use her as a tool. A tool to master time. Use it to catch moments, because time's not real but moments are. I'd use my watch to be there for and with the people and things I cared about. To catch that plane, meet that friend, or perhaps one day finally take in that first opera with a woman I'd fallen in love with. I could use that watch to tell time, take time, and make time for the things I wish to, in my own good time. My watch could be a compass to navigate a bucket list to the Taj Mahal and back again. When I asked about love and men, she said it was never the right time. Later on, when I asked about me, she said it still wasn't. Some things never have a right time, though. Love, children, showing you care. They can never have a wrong time. Only your own time to follow their calling in a moment that's always perfect, if we let it be. Then I looked at her and realized that you can become a slave to another type of time. And that was the worst type of slavery I could imagine. Being in bondage to always believing that it's never your time to fall in love.
This must be the only place where time exists. When we wake from our dreams, we are forced to remember time. Remember what day it is, the year, and who we are. All of these facts we leave in the material world. We split the block and enter time when we wake up. Outside of this block, we are timeless, unlimited souls.
In winter, the gallery remained unvisited. Stories never to be told. The pages lay unscripted. No words to celebrate the occasion that I'd looked so much forward to. No proof we were ever there. The nights are colder now. Christmas is but a few weeks away. The frost settles, the leaves have fallen, swept away, blown away, decayed. Most of the trees stand naked now. No one cares to look or notice. They have lost their charm, have little to offer. The spring, now a distant memory. The summer, forever dead.
Just because time is a measurement or calibration of experience, does this mean it exists any less than height or weight? Isn't all measurement a consensual agreement we make in order to coordinate our experiences with others?
Yes, time has got to be a social concept. It's got to be related to something that everybody understands. The attempt to make sense of the universe in terms of space and time has got to be related to developments in society. Before clock time, we measured the movement of the sun and the moon. We used those periods in order to structure our society.
Increments of time were longer. A minute worth of time had less significance. For us, time has speeded up. The nature of the society we are involved in puts so much emphasis on time that we're constantly watching clocks.
Love has no concept of time. Peace has no limits of time. Time is not a race to be won. Time is a precious gift. Embrace every moment. We all deserve the blessings time brings.
I woke up one day and it was there, the gift, waiting for me. It happened as I opened my eyes very early in the morning. And in the morning, I made the most of it. I cherished it. I bathed in its glorious daybreak glow. I danced as I dressed, and I sang as I washed, and I thanked the spirit gods. I told them I appreciated my home and my garden, and the morning frost nipping at my toes. And in the afternoon, I made the most of it. I cherished it. I skipped during my short lunch hour. I hummed as I played, sang as I hopped, and I thanked the spirit gods. I told them I appreciated my school and my friends, and the afternoon rainbows and my foes. And in the evening I made the most of it. I cherished it. I lolled gaily by the dying flickering fire. I painted stories as I sat, and I sang as I fed the cat. I thanked the spirit gods. I told them I appreciated my guardians and my parents, and my departed sisters and my iron-willed brothers. I went to sleep one day and it was gone, the gift, no longer waiting for me. It happened when I closed my eyes very late in the evening, but I did not cry and I did not weep. I went to sleep. And the spirit gods whispered into my ear as I slept soundly, sucking the end of my thumb. And they smiled kindly upon my frownless face, and they said, "Tomorrow the gift will be yours once more. Unwrap it and smell it, cherish it and hold it, taste it and make the most of it. It will not always be here." I did not cry. I did not weep. I went to sleep. I went to sleep.
It does come down to the nature of the society that you live in. In this society, time is money. Both are interconnected, and that alters the quality of life we live. Time becomes linked to productivity and we become insignificant.
You look at society, the world, cosmology, and we just shrink and shrink. But we are still important. Maybe we should measure life in quality. It's the relationships we have with other people, ourselves, and the things that we do that matter.
Once we get onto the issue of time outside a human lifespan, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, we can't conceive time. We lose the ability to understand time because we can't relate to it.
Maybe our consciousness can't cope without the concept of time. Can you cope with infinity? No endings, no beginnings. We think about everything in relation to boundaries. If I could make somebody immortal, so there's no limit to their life, and I told them they were going to go on a journey in a capsule across space, and it will take them 2 million years to get to their destination, what would their experience of time be like?
Imagine a human mind on that journey. All the thoughts they could have.
Without those thoughts, there would be no experience of time passing.
But wouldn't it be like dreaming? There is no time in dreams. Maybe our connection with time stops us from dreaming and forces us to be awake. Or maybe we are always dreaming.
It's interesting how our perception of time changes. Time goes slow when we're suffering and flies when we're having a great time. If time really exists, it wouldn't ever change. Einstein would say that time is an illusion.
Perception of Time by Kay McGonigal. Katie and Lucy sit back to back, unaware of each other's presence.
I could tell you in minute detail what's happened in the last 15 months.
Wow, I couldn't tell you what's happened over the last 15 months. Where does the time go?
It's mine and John's 5th wedding anniversary. It's not been an easy ride, and this year's been really difficult. But we're feeling optimistic and looking forward to a night out.
Saturday night, great. No work tomorrow. Looking forward to a night out with the girls. Nice meal and a glass of wine or two.
Had my hair done today. Got a new outfit. Looking forward to getting glammed up.
Katie and Lucy each stand in front of a full-length mirror, then sweep their hands from head to cheek, shoulder to breast. Katie stops there.
I found a lump.
Lucy continues through torso, waist, hips and thighs. They return to the chairs.
It's been a tough 4 weeks since my diagnosis. Spent last week telling everybody I've got breast cancer. I'm hoping for support, but I'm frightened of people being shocked when my appearance starts to change. Today, we are sitting with the surgeon, being given so much information. Stage 2 breast cancer, hormone related, can't have children. I don't know what all this means, but I do know I'm going to get through this.
Oh my God, John told us that Katie's got breast cancer. I don't know what to do. He's asked us to be there for her, but I don't know what that means. But I know she's going to get through this.
First chemo today. Wasn't too bad. My arm's a bit cold from it and I'm so hungry. I've hardly eaten for weeks because of the anxiety. John got us a takeout tonight. Oh, I ate it all. Oh my God, I feel so sick.
Oh my God, what a day. My boss is going on again about sales targets. Mark gets us a takeout tonight. I'm so full. Looking forward to a good night's sleep.
Christmas Day 2016.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. 'Tis the season to be jolly.
Risk of infection is so high, and everyone has this coughing virus. Father Peter kept the church locked until we'd had communion. It was just the 3 of us alone until Vera, one of the ministers, came in and gave me a hug. Being embraced, touched, the warmth and compassion. No needles, no pain, no sickness. It's the best feeling ever. My niece Lily isn't well this Christmas with that bug, so just John and I are going to have lunch on our own, just to be on the safe side.
Christmas morning mass with the family. Kids have opened their presents and lunch is underway. We've got both sets of parents coming over this year, so 8 for dinner. A few drinks, then time for a nap in front of the Queen's speech.
Valentine's Day 2017.
There seems to be no let-up with this virus. Other than going to the hospital for treatment, we've not seen another soul for the best part of the last 2 months. My mum picked up the virus from Lily, and Dad's been ill too. We've even had to send the carers home when they've arrived clearly unwell. John's exhausted, but he's trying his best. John wanted to make today special, so he went to Marks and Spencer's for a takeout. But he forgot to get the rice. Everything was cooked before he realised, and I got so upset with him. One day, just one bloody day he needs to get it right. But that's not true, is it? Every day he needs to get it right. Cooking, cleaning, shopping, medical appointments, and even phoning for ambulances in the middle of the night. Cleaning up bodily fluids and helping me bathe. John's not worked for months now. I'm his full-time job, day and night. I should feel so lucky to have him.
Wow, home from work. It's been so busy. Christmas shoppers, January sales, now Valentine's Day. No end of customers looking for the perfect gift or bargain to be had. Mark's done a food shop and cooked us a special meal. Got us a lovely bottle of bubbly and even some flowers for the table. I'm so lucky to have him.
Breakfast in bed. Got to conserve me energy.
Breakfast in bed. Such a treat.
I've started marking the passing of time in 3-week periods. I measure it with rising anxiety levels as I'm expecting the next treatment, and the side effects, the exhaustion, and the hospitalisation. I've watched the seasons change through my bedroom window, from the snowflakes falling to the blinding sunshine streaming in. The carers routinely tell me how cold, wet, or hot it is.
I don't have any concept of time. I don't know. I've just been so busy. Every day seems to blur into the next until someone reminds me of the date, and I think, wow, how did it get to be October already?
Christmas Day, 2017.
Today, we've decided to treat ourselves. With slightly improved energy levels and less of a risk of infection, I've planned Christmas so we can get the most from it. Last night, we managed 6 o'clock mass before coming home and enjoying the warmth of the fire. Today, we're going out for a meal, a present to ourselves. No cooking for John, and a chance to get dressed up in our finery. We'll be home in time for Doctor Who and, of course, asleep.
Christmas morning with the family. Kids have opened their prezzies. What did we get each other last year? Lunch is underway. We've got both sets of parents coming over this year, so again, 8 for dinner. A few drinks, then time for a nap in front of the Queen's speech.
Valentine's Day again. Katie and Lucy turn to face each other and hug.
Wow, don't you look well? Your hair's amazing. How have you been?
I'm well, thank you. Pleased to say that I've finally finished my 15 months of chemotherapy.
15 months? Really? Wow. I remember John telling us when you were first diagnosed. That only feels like a couple of months ago. Hasn't that flown over?
Time is a fraction of your existence. As you get older, that fraction gets smaller and time, in effect, shrinks. As you get older, you become more conscious of it.
Growing old together. Sounded good, didn't it? Warm and cosy, greeting card perfect. Climb the hill together, buy a house, raise some kids, to have and to hold. Yes, it sounded good, comforting, happy, the way it should be, me with you with me, together growing old. So what's this now? You with the dodgy vision, and me unable to hear, creaking together like protesting floorboards. It isn't what we were told. When you ask if I want it hot, you're not talking sex, but a hot water bottle. When you tell me I'm coming too early, it's my bus pass you hold in your hand. Hardly the deal we were promised, but it's how the pathway unrolled. I know the opening times at the clinic the way I knew the closing times in the clubs. Is this the end of the rainbow? Is this our own crock of gold? When we walked away to the sunset, no one mentioned the shadows, that a pain in the neck really is pain in the neck. Do you think we were maybe missold?
There is a time when I will not exist and there will be no future. We've only discussed time in the context of existence. What is it like to not exist? What happens when the frames stop changing and the movie's finished?
Well, it's finished. What happens when the song is finished? It's finished. You didn't worry about it before you were born, and you shouldn't worry about it when you're dead. You've got a life in between. That's where the worry comes in.
The news came with a blow so tremendous that it whipped the colour from his face and pushed gravity into his soul. For days and days he floated about in his room, trying not to grasp at life, for fear of everything falling away. He held tightly to the core of his being and an old teddy bear, as he gathered together all of his strength that he had available. Only 10 smiles left before the end. These words echoed in the vacuous chamber of his dizzied mind. Only 10 smiles left until the end. He had just turned 33. How long could he make 10 smiles last? Why him? How was he to deal with this enormous responsibility? How could fate have concluded that each smile, once priceless, would now cost him his life? He must withdraw from the world, away from the dangers of comedy, away from the risk of beautiful sunsets, frolicking puppies, and wide-eyed questions from the minds and mouths of infants. He must behave appropriately and remove himself from all breathtaking scenes in nature, all forms of joyous expression and all potential moments of pleasure. In all seriousness, he must live a life of lack. Each precious smile must be resisted, for the cost of each one was more than he could afford. But still, even in seclusion, his mind was free to wander through memories, taking liberties to create from scratch unlimited delights. He tried to concentrate on sad times, but his mind became cluttered with the life-enhancing resolutions that each of these sad times had led him to uncover. He suppressed his gratitude for enlightenment as he felt his heart lift. These were bad thoughts. He thought instead of others who were dying, to reassure himself that he was not alone. The world was in chaos, so many injured, sick, and even starving. His mind became furnished with these thoughts until they all stood looking towards him. Thousands upon thousands of people had come to take their place in the queue at death's door. How could he not now spare a smile to brighten the scared and saddened faces that surrounded him? He gave freely one smile and one song. When the crowd departed, they were all the better for the gifts he had given them. He sat alone in his emptied mind and thought of all the wonderful things that he could do with the 9 smiles that he still had left. These thoughts filled his heart. He gave the 9th smile to a child in the park who was learning to walk, the 8th to a beggar who looked down on his luck, the 7th to a flock of birds as they changed the direction of their flight with flawless unity, the 6th to time itself for showing him so many wonderful things, the 5th to his own brave heart. The 4th emerged as he remembered Leonard, who had told him that pain was beauty. The 3rd he gave to the sun, the 2nd to the moon, the last to his lover who looked into his eyes as he drifted into the sea of life's end.
Maybe time itself makes no sense unless it's used in a social setting. Can we really say that something doesn't exist when we use it every day? Time is something that we can use because we have all come to an agreement as a society, a world, about what a standard unit of time is. Here's a convention that we use. I accept that on a philosophical level, that time probably doesn't exist. However, on a day-to-day level, it definitely does.
I think time is a really useful tool. Without time, we can't calculate speed. We measure work with time, the completion of things with time. If we didn't have it in a practical sense, it would be catastrophic. If I wanted to know how long something would take, what happens if I couldn't have an answer because there's no time?
Time is part of being human. Without it, we couldn't make sense of the world that we live in. Developments happen over a period of time. Without it, we can't look back and say, have things progressed, or compare events.
Where did all the punks go? They hide behind white picket fences. Unable to grow Mohicans in middle age, they sculpt neat hedges instead of stiff spikes. Punk politics got mortgaged to a desirable neighbourhood. Brothel creepers replaced with tennis shoes. They shop at Sainsbury's for organic food. I see them fill their bags. I never thought they would pop vitamin pills or walk the Shih Tzu or drink herbal tea with a hint of pomegranate to stay caffeine-free. Once they rocked dog collars, spewed anarchy onto the streets with bondage gear. They safety pinned an attitude to Union Jack, screamed guitar in the face of our Queen. Their DIY ethic did not include a greenhouse. They were supposed to shatter glass, not grow tomatoes.
I often think of time in terms of duty, everything being against the clock. Sometimes time is an obstacle to our development. Think about children at school. They are so time pressured. How quickly they learn determines whether they succeed or fail. How quickly they can get their answers down in an exam paper determines whether they pass or fail. How quickly they reach milestones or fail to seems to matter more than maybe it should. We can internalize that pressure and think about time in terms of stress.
Marx talks about space being compressed by time. We can see it in terms of transport development and the time it takes to move across large distances. Also, the way that technology is able to transfer information across vast distances and do market transactions very quickly in order to increase profits. All these things are to do with space. There are pressures on society to basically quicken everything up. Get things to market as fast as you possibly can.
I used to struggle with the idea of space-time. The moon is far away because it takes a long time to get there. If I could get to the moon in 1 second, would it be far away? The idea of distance, again, becomes just another concept. Is there such a thing as far away and near?
I've often thought about that when I'm driving and see the Welsh mountains in the distance. It would only take me an hour to get to them, but years ago it would have taken, well, weeks. It's strange how it always seems to take longer to go than it does to come back.
On these hills, last year I said, next year I will say, I am on these hills. Everspace, where? Some far there, now there. This year I am on these hills. Everspace, where in the wind a grasshopper, one, blood in the ear of earth air, ticks the heat from near here to far there, now there. Next year I will say, last year I said, I am on these hills. Everspace, where? Some far there, now there.
A baby knows nothing of time. They live in a world of their own without any notion of ticks and tocks.
They have a rhythm all of their own. We train them to conform.
We go to bed at night and then our body clock tells us when to wake up. We learn to get ourselves into a rhythm. Time is central to us. It's all we know.
It's time. Our time. Time to unfold the origami of old. To rewrite our wrongs. To re-sing our songs. Time to
smooth out the creases and rouse the unwritten.
To scribe in a calligraphy of care, using fonts of affection, typified by a typography of tenderness.
It's time to reform characters with consistent consideration.
To create syllables of synergy within words of warmth nestled within sentences
of sensitivity. Time to restructure our paragraphs, to bind together pages of purpose with a coveted cover of connection.
Yes, it's time. Our time.
It's time to proofread our stories, to re-edit our doubts and fears.
Time to selectively surround ourselves within synonyms of safety and satisfaction.
allured with alliteration and analogy,
caressed by consonants,
betrothed with vows of eternal love, made and married in metaphor.
It's time. Our time. It's time to muse upon moonlit musical monologues, to compose soliloquies of seduction and sensuality.
Time to introduce sonnets of simplicity with stanzas of strength and stability, to produce poems with passion,
to write and reflect rhymes of reason and rationality,
to conjure couplets of comfort, odes of openness, verses of versatility. Because it's time. It's our time. It's time to pause.
To tear up the tabloids, to pick up our pieces. Time
to pen parables of perfect peace,
proverbs of protection, prose of paramount importance.
Time to wistfully weave a web of words into a noteworthy narrative of nurture.
To create chapters of cheer within books of ebullience. Time to navigate novels of knowledge.
Encyclopedias of insight and enrichment.
To lose ourselves in the aisles of libraries of love. It's time. Our time.
So come, let's imprint manuscripts with meaning, epilogues of eloquence as epitomes of emancipation.
Let's tress tributes of trust with testimonials of togetherness.
To leave eulogies of lasting euphoria.
For it's time. Our time.
Time to accept and assimilate assignments of ascension, essays of ecstasy,
dissertations of divinity.
Let us graduate with gratitude for its time. Time
to articulate articles of faith within journals of justice, all joyfully enjoined, naturally notated,
respectfully and rightfully referenced to source. For it's time. It's time. It's time.